just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if it's sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right, this is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 70 with Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz, and it feels like it's been about 702 years since we recorded our last podcast, and that's because there's no local basketball to be talked about on the court. Still a lot of stuff going on off the court. We'll get into all the Damian Lillard news from the Portland Trail Blazers and how that might impact the New York Knicks and other teams around the association. Alex?
Mike, what's up?
How
are you?
I'm answering the question you didn't even ask. How am I? Still have not watched a second of NBA basketball since the Nets lost. How are you?
I'm good. I haven't watched much either. I mean, I've been paying attention, but I was in Florida visiting family and things going on, and I've been watching the Mets heavy now, so I've been paying attention. But I can't say I've been locked in every game, but I've been definitely paying attention.
Yeah, I paid attention to the box scores and seeing who's winning games,
highlights,
But I can't bring myself to watch any of it. I just can't do it.
The finals, you'll get into the finals.
I think
the finals, you'll get into it, and by then it's like get over it. But
I would say you're right. I would say you're right. Get over it, but it's just
not get over it. Like get over it. Not get over it. Like get over it. Get over it. But like you can watch. It's
there's just a lot. It's different because, in my opinion, the Nets are better than all the teams that are still playing. So it's really and they don't deserve. I mean, they lost fair and square. I'm not saying any of that, but it's frustrating seeing the output that's on the court in the Western and Eastern Conference Finals and reading about it. I'm just like, holy shit, they just blew it. They really blew it.
Yeah. Well, I can't say I was upset about that. And speaking about you getting upset because
I thought you were going to say speaking about
air balls.
Speaking about air balls, blowing it. But anyway, yeah.
So we have our guest, Mr. Dolan J. Trump. How are you, sir?
Guys, it's always good to be back on the show. Mike, I took great offense to what you said last time when Alex read my address. By the way, Alex, you completely blew it. I included in the list of jinxed players throughout the history of the Nets, Nenad Kristic. I don't know how you forgot about that one in my letter to you.
Did I overread that? Hold on.
No, you didn't. I'm just blaming you because I'm not going to apologize.
Because you're Trump. Yeah.
Exactly. But Mike, as you remember, Nenad Kristic, the Nets had that big three back in the day and Nenad Kristic was supposed to be the big guy who can score down low, and just when it seemed like they were going to have that piece, Nenad blew out his ACL, if you recall. Never was the same. He actually ended up on that Oklahoma City team, I remember, which had your boy Kevin Durant on. And
the other boy, Jeffrey, too. Yeah.
Yep, there you go. So Nenad Kristic, just another part of the. I forgot about Harden. But Nenad Kristic, a part of that list of players, which Mike, I warned you about months ago. You chose not to listen to me, and unfortunately, I had to learn the hard way. So.
No big deal, but it's Nenad. It wasn't Nenad. I know it's been a while since it's Nenad.
No, it's Nenad. Nenad Kristic.
No, it was spelled Nenad, but it's pronounced Nenad.
We may have to go back to the audio on Iron Eagle. I distinctly remember him saying Nenad Kristic.
It's Nenad Kristic.
If anything is it Kristic or Kristich?
I always thought it was Kristich. It was kind of a
right
sound, and not
that Bosnian and Serbian. Yugoslavian, the IC is the itch sound. So,
Nenad Kristic.
You can say you warned me, which you did, but I would say then you're giving the Nets franchise too much credit. Like, who are the Nets to say they have a jinx on them? It doesn't seem warranted. They're not the Cubs. They're not the Red Sox.
Dr. J? No, that's not a curse.
Yeah, that's the curse. You sold Dr. J for what? That's the curse.
Manufactured by you and your administration, looking for something to go after because your team that you now run and root for has nothing going on.
It's going to be. You may have to wait about another 86 years or so. It's going to happen eventually. It may not be in your lifetime, but eventually they will win So,
and the beautiful part is you spew it now because you have the advantage because they lost, but the amount of angst and anger that was coming from you all season long, and I have the text messages to prove it, about the Nets and how unfair it is and everything going on around it. Now you can relax, you can breathe easily because the Nets lost, but you know deep down inside the amount of anger and depression that you were feeling during the season, knowing that you abandoned the Nets just before they got great, and now going to a team that's borderline playoff squad.
Good point.
But another thing is, you said I took the easy way out. I left the Nets. No. I left the Nets. First of all, I left the Nets many years ago. But they were still in their dog shit days. But I joined this Knicks franchise when nobody thought the Knicks were going to become better. I mean, and you look at the things that I did since I came there. I repealed the triangle. We weeded the garden. We put in tremendous people. And that I mean, we're on the prize. I mean, so we're an ascending franchise. You're going to see things that nobody's ever seen before. Especially this offseason. Yeah.
Yes, I've seen things. I've seen teams win 44 games and lose in the first round. I've seen these things before.
Hey, we listen. What was your comment? I don't even know what your comment was in the beginning of the show about like whatever it is that you can't watch basketball, whatever. The bottom line is we did our part. No one expected us to be here. I knew we were going to be here all along. We did our part. We made the playoffs. We were a 4 seed. You guys were the ones who were supposed to, I guess, bring buzz of basketball back to New York, and you're the ones who came up short in what you're supposed to be doing. So,
did you really make the playoffs? I mean, let's be honest. Did you even make the playoffs? I mean, there's a blip in there. People will forget about it in a second. The story will be the Atlanta Hawks. No offense,
Alex, are you forgetting? Are you forgetting about that game too? I'm not forgetting about.
But
honestly,
your season hinges on a game 2 victory. I mean, that's what you're going to remember from this year, which is nice, which is a good pat on the back. Congratulations, you won a playoff game for the first time since 1962. Yeah. But let's be fair. Is that really that much? Is that really that exciting?
No, it's
go back
not,
to your administration. I mean, if that's what you're bragging about, Dolan, I think you've set the bar so low, and you'll never be able to be the owner that takes your franchise.
What we just started is the beginning of what's going to be a tremendous, amazing season next year. What's actually really funny is the Nets fans. You guys are like the Trump voters, the Trump supporters who are denying that he like lost the election. You guys are saying they're like, we're really the champions, but that's all I'm seeing all these Net fans on Twitter saying stuff like
banners. Nets won. The Nets won.
Exactly. We would have won if we didn't get injured, but guess what? You did get injured.
They would have.
This performance team that you guys have, which is highly overrated, is I mean, you prevented no injuries whatsoever. I mean, so that's all I'm saying is that
I hear what you're saying, but honestly, the Knicks season was up here for me, like above my head, and then getting embarrassed for 3 straight games and losing on your home floor in 5 brought that down a notch or 2.
Yeah, but I mean that's gonna.
It was impressive
for our guest. I mean that's as good as it. I mean that's his big claim to fame. What you just mentioned, which is nice. Like you said, you're depressed about it, but this is we're talking here to the puppet master that's putting all of this together behind the scenes. That's going to brag about how great that was, but he knows truly deep inside the flaws that the New York Knicks have. That Julius Randle really isn't a superstar. That you're hanging the balance on a guy in RJ Barrett who doesn't go to his right. There's a lot of things that you're worried about, Dylan, that you won't even talk about. Who is your point guard? I cannot wait for you next season to talk about how great Spencer Dinwiddie is and the promise that he brings to your team. There's a lot of flaws with the Knicks. They have no center inside. They have no point guard play, and they have a lot of other issues and decisions to make with Julius Randle and Obi Toppin. First year, you can tell me you're excited for year number 2 and what's to come, but he's 29 years old and he showed nothing in that first season.
Yeah, honestly, though,
Obi Toppin, 29 years. Excuse me, Obi Toppin is 22 years old. So
exaggerating.
In NBA years.
But how about
Karis LeVert in the eyes of Nets fans is still a young, promising star. Meanwhile, that guy is 26, 27. Yes. He's 27 years old, and I'm a huge fan of Karis LeVert.
Yeah, let's be honest, Dolan. I would tell you this: I would give LeVert the stones in a second over what I saw from big time Randle in the playoffs. Give all NBA second team turned into all NBA garbage in the playoffs. I would say at least Karis LeVert's got some balls when it counts. I'd be a little concerned about your prized possession, your prized player who can't even show up in big spots. That would worry me. Sorry to interrupt you, Alex.
No, I was going to say, how about Donald J. Trump's international relations? He has RJ Barrett helping Team Canada, 22 points and 5 rebounds today in the Olympic trials. How about that? So he's helping out other countries by lending his players to other countries, even though RJ Barrett is Canadian.
I mean, you look at the relationships that we've established. I mean, you see what we did with Greece in this past couple of weeks with how Giannis was able to handle the Nets. I mean, we have restored our standing in the world. So, and Mike, getting back to your question, I mean your comment about the Knicks roster. The Knicks roster, yes, did the Knicks overachieve this past year? Of course they did with what they had. I mean, Tom Thibodeau, who did an amazing job. I mean, he had literally nothing to work with. But I mean that didn't stop him from putting together a great team. I mean, David Fizdale, his apologists are obviously writing fluff pieces.
Oh my God, that was ridiculous.
Praise, I can't remember his name.
I forgot. Doesn't matter.
Some third-rate writer that no one's ever heard of. But anyways, but anyways, but with the Nets,
that was a joke. That was a joke.
We have right, just whatever. Go ahead.
What the Knicks have. I mean, you look at like the amount of salary cap space that we have, and I'm not listening. They have, and then you have. The draft picks, salary cap space, the fact that you have this young core. I mean, Julius Randle's 26 years old. You have RJ Barrett, who is just turned 21. So you have Emmanuel Quickly. I mean, Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickly. People forget that these guys did not get a proper training camp because of the pandemic. You saw what Obi was able to accomplish. I mean, that guy is a
no. He came on in the playoffs.
Yes,
he
came on the big stage.
2 dunks and a 3 in the corner, and that's
he was playing defense. No, that's not fair. He was
go look at his game log over the past few weeks.
Set the bar.
They were chanting Obi not because of an alley-oop, but because he locked down, defended somebody on one side, and ran.
Set the bar so low. You've set the bar so low for the guy that because he had a couple of defensive plays and a knockdown 3 and a dunk, now he's set the standard for
progression. It's progression. He looked like he was lost, like he didn't belong in the NBA in the beginning of the season.
See,
like I said, the bar was set so low. The bar was set so low that you're able to then bring it up and manipulate. Obi Toppin showed progression because he made a shot. Please,
he dunked it. He didn't even shoot it. He dunked. He got an alley. No, but I'm just saying he showed progression. He definitely showed. Like I thought the moment was gonna be too big for him in the playoffs because in the beginning of the season he looked like a deer in the headlights, and everybody was booing, like not booing, but it was just kind of like, "Whoa, what's up with you, Obi? He needs to sit." And and I was arguing with people. I was like, "You can't sit him. You have to play him. Like, you know what I mean? You have to play him at least a few minutes a night." And there was a couple times he got injured early, and he played one game and then he got hurt. He was out for a few weeks. That also set him back, which Mike forgets, of course, conveniently. And then he comes back and Thibodeau puts him in for 1 minute. And then Alfred couldn't hit him on some crazy alley-oop that he would have had in that 1 minute. And then it ruins his stats for the whole season. His stats look like terrible. And he was horrible for a lot of it. And like, I'm not excusing it, but towards the end of the season, he really started to show and get comfortable and started to play well. And he was hitting his threes and he was dunking and he was playing defense. I'm really excited to see what he can do for next season. I'm not guaranteeing it. The bar wasn't lowered, but I think he can become a quality player.
And you know what, Alex? You give him a proper offseason and a training camp with this coaching staff. You look at what Kenny Payne and Tibbs and what this guy is going. He's gonna be fine, Obi Toppin. So
I hope so.
Yeah, I think so. And what was I gonna say also? So Mike, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I mean, I know you guys are both Mets fans. If you remember years ago when the Mets, right before they traded for Yoenis Cespedes, okay, you had guys hitting in the lineup. I remember like David Wright, I think was saying
Campbell.
Clean up. You know what I mean? When they got Cespedes, it put guys in the right spots within the lineup. And I think if you can get a real starting small forward where Reggie Bullock is still part of the team, still part of the rotation, but he's coming off the bench as opposed to starting and being your starting small forward, something along those lines. I mean, my perfect offseason, and we can definitely talk about Lillard after this. I almost want them to. I want them to re-sign Derrick Rose. I want him and Quickly to be kind of like that bench mob off the bench. Because now you're seeing also with Atlanta how much depth matters. Where Atlanta could bring in the Lou Williams and Kevin Herter. I'm saying when Atlanta's at full strength, how valuable that is. But let's say you lock up, you bring back Rose to play with Quickly in the back, in your backcourt off the bench. I want a bridge point guard, I want either Kyle Lowry, because I'll tell you what, when the Knicks are going through that 5-minute stretch in Atlanta, when the offense is totally out of sync, they can't get a bucket, it seems like the walls are caving in, someone like Kyle Lowry could be like, all right, let me take this to the hoop, let me get to the free throw line, let's calm down the crowd. Someone like that, or even Spencer Dinwiddie. Yes, Alex, I know you like him. No. Spencer Dinwiddie. Mike, you'll agree with me on this one. We can agree with this.
Spencer Dinwiddie. He's a jerk, and he's coming off knee surgery, man. We can do so much better than that. We don't need to scrap the bottom of the barrel, man.
Spencer
we did this last offseason. He's injured. We did this last offseason, and look where we are. Look where the Hawks are. This is what I'm saying. All the guys you're just talking about signing. Guys like Bogdanovich, guys like Gallinari, and look what they are. Look where they are. Look where the Hawks are right now in the Eastern Conference Finals. Knicks did nothing. They signed Reggie Bullock. They signed Alec Burks. They signed Elfrid Payton. They signed all these not scrubs, but like come on, like you could have done so much better. You had all this cap space. You're hoarding it. You go over the floor by signing John Henson, who doesn't even show up, and then you have it's just like come on, and then you're in the playoffs like, oh my God, we're shorthanded. Yeah, you don't say. You don't say. So that's why I'm like, you know what? You have to try every offseason and stop with this nonsense of punting on seasons.
Yeah, anyway, I don't think signing Spencer Dinwiddie would be punting on the season. If you think
I'm
saying what they did last year, but I'm saying Spencer Dinwiddie, he's injured, and we don't know what he's going to be off injury. And I know you don't like. I don't like him. I don't like him.
But if it's
you would like him though.
If you're going based on his basketball,
I'm not just going based on because I don't like him.
He would be a tremendous
because he's injured. He's coming off a knee injury, a major knee injury that kept him out for the season, and he was healthy enough to play in the playoffs, but he decided not to.
He wasn't healthy enough.
All of a sudden,
he
came out of the playoff after once the Nets are eliminated. Oh, hey, I'm healthy to play, guys.
He wasn't ready.
Hey, guys, that's like showing up for the fight when the fight's over. Hey, guys, I wish I was there. I would have really thrown down.
You have a lot of anger towards Spencer Dinwiddie because he insulted and made fun of you, your fan base, and your team, which is fair. But if you're going on a strict basketball game, he would. Okay, but you can't. You're not saying anything about his game. All you're saying is he's hurt. And you're saying that you don't like him. If you're
you can do just as well. You can do just as good as him.
If you're actually speaking about how he plays basketball, his fit for the Knicks would be incredible. He can get to the basket. He can shoot from the outside. He's a perimeter defender. He's a really, really good basketball player. And don't compare him to fucking Bogdan Bogdanovic. He's 10 times better than him. He's 10 times better than
Do you know he's going to be
Gallinari.
the same after the injury? Do you know he's going to be the same after the injury? You don't know that. You're telling me what he was before his injury. You know what I mean? You look at Porzingis. He's not the same since the injury. You don't know what
you gave me 42 episodes about how Kevin Durant wasn't going to be good. He was the fucking best player in the NBA.
He played 20 games this year.
He was the best player in the playoffs. So don't give me the whole
20 games in 2 years.
He's coming off your whole basis is if he's coming off an injury that no guy can ever be better. So you'll never sign a player off an injury. He's a good fit for the Knicks. He's a good fit for the Knicks. I think he would make sense. I don't want to see it.
You're twisting my words. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they can do better than that. They can do better than a guy coming off injury who's an asshole. Like they can do better than that. They can. And if they choose not to, then that's fine. That's fine.
He's an asshole to you, but he's not an asshole.
He was an asshole to the Knicks. And insulted the fan base, insulted the team. He's mocking the Knicks after Porzingis injury. Hey, we're just going to sign that guy and come on over. I'm sorry, I'm not built like that. I don't like players like that. I don't want guys like that. If he signs with the Knicks, of course I'll learn to like him. He'll be on the team and I'll support him. But I would prefer to go in a different direction because they can. They're not desperate. They don't need a guy coming off knee surgery who's a jerk.
Who are they getting?
They don't need that. I don't know yet. We have to see who's out there. We have to see who's available. We have to see who gets
Spencer
declined their options.
We
got to see who's
Lowry.
traded. We got to see who's available. I don't know yet. Kyle Lowry's 38 years old. I mean, if all else fails, sure, bring him in. But I prefer not to do that. I prefer to go another direction.
I prefer to
go maybe draft more and just keep building. Like I wouldn't even mind that. But you have to sign vets to fill in the gaps and not guys coming off knee surgery.
I want to see Spencer. I want to see Spencer on the Knicks, so then you can start loving him, and then I'll start hating him, and we can have this whole conversation backwards.
Like Theo Pinson.
Yeah, exactly. Like Theo Pinson get on my nerves. Spencer Dinwiddie on the Knicks, then trolling the Nets and being like, "Yeah, this crowd is 6 times louder than it was at Barclays Center." I mean, all of the stuff that comes out. I personally I love seeing how upset Spencer Dinwiddie makes you because it's kind of cool to see the Knicks fan that upset at Spencer Dinwiddie and all the irritation he caused the Knicks fans. I still get a little bit of joy out of it, to be completely honest.
Because I thought it doesn't matter. What we feel doesn't matter.
It matters to me. It's fun to see. It's fun to see the Knicks fan irritated. Dolan, I know you're new to the fan base, but I don't. You remember what it was like when you remember what it was like when you were in Jersey? How annoying it was. It's fun to see. I now know you're now on the other side. You're now with the Knicks.
I took the easy way out. We know that it's been documented by you. This is fake news.
It was fun to see how irritated that the net players could make Knicks fans. I took some joy out of that. Yes.
But getting back to Dinwiddie, Alex, this is what I'm going to say about Spencer Dinwiddie. First of all, modern medicine.
Such an agitator, man. Me and Mike never argue. But you like drop the bomb in the middle of our thing, and that's funny.
Well, I'll tell you why I want Spencer Dinwiddie. First of all, 6'6", okay? 6'6", can handle the ball, can get to the hoop, can shoot from the outside, and most importantly, he's got moxie. And although he played for a very small crowd in Brooklyn, the guy is a showman. Look how many times he came into the Garden and would troll the Knicks. And he would talk the talk, but he would also back it up, and he would do it on the court. That's why I think Spencer Dinwiddie would be interesting. And as for Kyle Lowry, this past season, okay, 17 points on 44% shooting. Okay. And 7.5 assists a game. And he's not. How old do you think he is? Born 19. Go ahead. Actually, I'll let you guess.
Who is this? I'm sorry.
Kyle Lowry.
He's 38, right? I think he's 38.
He was born in 1986.
Oh,
35.
so he's
Yeah. So
I thought he's 38.
everyone, you guys are waxing poetic about Chris Paul. Everyone's Chris Paul.
Chris Paul is on a different level than Kyle Lowry.
Okay. Yes, Chris Paul is obviously a
Let's
Hall of Famer.
disagree, Dolan. If
stratosphere.
do you think Kyle Lowry's as good as Chris Paul? Go for it. I'd love to hear this.
I don't know if he's as good as Chris Paul, but I think he is. No, Kyle Lowry is. He is he's an NBA champion. He's got a bulldog mentality. I was on another podcast recently, which did obviously great numbers as well. And I mentioned this exact same idea. The reason why I like Kyle Lowry is, and Mike, this is when I was, I still used to like it, but this is before the Nets even went completely radical. But when the Nets played the Raptors in that first round years ago, and everyone was saying DeMar DeRozan, the guy who I was afraid of in that series was Kyle Lowry, because he was basically he was eating Darren Williams' lunch and he was just taking it right to him. And Darren Williams was like scared of him. Now I know obviously it's many years ago, but that mentality is still there, and I think he just would bring a winning mentality. And I'll tell you what, I even like the idea of bringing in both DeRozan and Lowry, and it is kind of similar to how when the Nets brought in Pierce and Garnett, although these guys are not at the way end of their career where they're not even useful anymore. But it's just like it brings it. They would just, because remember when the Nets brought in Pierce and Garnett, it was like, okay, this is the heart transplant that Brook Lopez, Joe Johnson, and Darren Williams need to become champions or whatever.
A piece of them, right?
And I
Sports
think
Illustrated.
Right, exactly. But because those guys were, when they lost in Game 7 against the Bulls on their own home court, they showed no heart. It was a totally gutless performance. So that was the whole mentality. Like, we're going to bring these champions, or these guys are going to teach them to be champions, to be better players. But with the Knicks, I almost like if they brought in DeRozan and Lowry, it's just two guys where it's
DeRozan sign.
And ancillary roles where, you put DeRozan in the starting lineup over someone like Reggie Bullock and put Lowry. And like I said, imagine that scenario. Knicks are going 3.5 minutes without a bucket. They're in that slump in Atlanta, and someone like Lowry would find a way to end that run. So get to the line, hit a big three, whatever the case is. He would just know how to calm down the troops. Because I think what happened with Julius was that I think it was almost like a perfect storm of, no one was hitting shots on the team. They were obviously undermanned against that Hawks, and the Hawks had much more
Wonder
talent.
why.
And I think what happened was, that when Julius' shot wasn't dropping, I think he basically panicked in a way, and I think he just regressed to his old bad habits that he saw in 2000. I guarantee if you watched highlights of the Knicks playoff series against Atlanta and compare it to highlights from last year when David Fizdale and Mike Miller were coaching, I guarantee you would see similarities. Like, wait, that's the same Julius Randle. Bad decisions, slower decision making, bad shot
too. Yeah.
Right. But also bad shot selection, dribbling into traffic, turning the ball. What do you have, like 8 turnovers one game? Was insane. So so that's what, but I would fully endorse a Spencer Dinwiddie signing. And don't underestimate modern medicine. And the ACL, yes.
Modern medicine. Look at Derrick Rose is not the same player. Porzingis is not the same player.
Porzingis
had 2 knee surgeries. He was not the same player. There's so many guys you can name that took a step down in their talent level after they had major knee surgery, like Dinwiddie had. And you could just dismiss it like it's no big deal. It's just ridiculous. It's just
but he has a jump shot. It's not like he's just strictly on athleticism. Yeah. So
well, Derrick Rose, it looks good, but he's not Derrick Rose. Like, you know what I'm saying? You take a step down after these injuries. Porzingis with the Knicks before those injuries, he was a lot better than what he is now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just.
Mike, who would have thought that Spencer Dinwiddie would be the peace treaty between us? It's over. The war is over, Mike.
Yeah, bro, I love you.
Now, me and Mike
I have to be perfectly
just tell
honest.
me where I should send that basketball to you. All right.
You got it. It's 12 Greenbrook. All right, so
Rick Mahorn's also on that ball, and Armin Gilliam.
So last week when we had episode 69, I definitely came into the episode like really sad, and I just had kind of skewed my heart. I think over the past week, anger has built, and it's turned into anger. And and then with Dolan on this episode, it kind of turned into like, I don't give a shit what anybody says.
You were taking shots. Yeah.
I'm taking shots today. And that's just, I'll just be honest with you. Like, I
love it.
Rationalizing it, like, ripping me. And I think I've earned the respect of the small Knick fan base that there is out there that comes and listens to this podcast, is that they respected me because I say honest things and how I feel. I definitely started that episode with just like, I don't give a shit. And I just went full anger. And I think, Dolan, you brought it out of me. and I think
stupid
it was
face
like
on the picture.
inevitable. Like I just made sure I gave whatever Alex said. I was ready to just be like Dinwiddie's the guy. It didn't even matter to me. I you know what? I don't care how many surgeries he had. He's the right answer in New York. Thanks, Dolan.
No, it's just funny because last week you were saying, the Nets lost. It just shows. Why did I care about the Knicks? I shouldn't care about the Knicks at all. I don't even care about any of that stuff. I was worried about games in January, February, the Knicks losing, and I didn't really care. And then this week you're telling me, it makes me happy when Dinwiddie trolls you. So you know what? You got a little bit,
Oh no, I just told you. Like I just told you. I just came out of it, man.
It's funny.
I mean,
I love
if you were a Detroit Pistons fan tonight, I would have made fun of you.
Detroit.
You were just anything that was in my way. I do think though, from that experience, I do think going into next year, I'm not going to be rooting for the Knicks. I want them to not succeed, but I will. I do think, and I still believe this, that I will in my head, like there's a bigger mission at hand. I can't be microing the win and losses from the Knicks unless they get to a point where, we'll see what happens this offseason. If it's truly in the same stratosphere as the Nets, like the Net, there was 3 teams in the East. There was
they were in tier 2. Knicks were in tier 2.
Although the Hawks have proved that they might be the best of all of them, which is another conversation. But in the regular season, at least, the Knicks and Nets were never really fighting for playoff spots. If they got to that point, that'd be a different story. But I think from this year, we'll learn like it's about Kyrie, Harden, and Durant and whatever offseason moves they make, which will be interesting for both teams, which leads to the Knicks and the Damian Lillard rumors that are swirling all around the NBA. The Sean Billups hire that happened, and then kind of the backlash that's come from that, and then the input on the Knicks side. Alex, I'll be curious. I'll let you go with if the Knicks are able to make some sort of move for Dame. Are you interested? I know we've talked about in the past what the package would be, etc. What's your thoughts on Lillard?
I honestly, I don't know, man. I want him, of course. He's a great player. I would love to have Damian Lillard on the Knicks. His contract, his age kind of scares me a little bit, but I would do it. You know what I mean? Like I would do it. But I'm not dealing him as if he's, Anthony Davis or LeBron James in his prime. You know what I mean? Like these proposed deals, like SNY put out a tweet today. Oh, the Knicks would get Damian Lillard and just him for RJ Barrett, Obi, Emmanuel Quickley, 2021, 23 first, and 22 and 24 pick swaps. Are you out of your mind? Whoever put that out there should be fired or be, promoted for generating content. But like, it's just like, are you kidding? Like, this is not like Damian Lillard is a great player. Like, I tweeted this out today at Knicks Central. Damian Lillard is a great player, but he's not on that level. He's not that A1 tier 1 where the moment he steps on the floor, your team is a championship contender. He's not James Harden. He's not Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not those guys that you give up the farm for. You know what I mean? Like you get him, sure. And there's two layers to this. It's either that, which I'm against, or number 2, like if Damian Lillard says, I want the Knicks and only the Knicks, that's when the price tag comes down. And that's when you have the Blazers by the you-know-whats. And that's when you can squeeze them. And that's when you say, okay, here's, Quickly Toppin and our 2 firsts this year. And this is what you get. You know what I mean? It'll be sad to see them go and those picks and whatever. But you got Damian Lillard, man. And you know what I mean? Like then you got Damian Lillard, you got Mitchell Robinson, you got RJ Barrett, you got Julius Randle. You have something. Plus you have your cap space. You got things brewing there. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. Do I want him? Yes. But I don't know if I'm going to be okay with it, depending on what the deal is. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why it's so hard to talk about the offseason because we don't know who's released. We don't know who's getting traded. A Damian Lillard trade shifts the entire NBA. Like you don't know. It's probably going to be a 3 or 4 team trade, and it's just going to shift everything around. Think people are going to become available that you didn't know were available. Like, did you think Karis LeVert would end up on the Pacers because the Nets traded with the Rockets for James Harden? Like, it's just like things like that. Like, it's every offseason we do this. Like, the calculator thing. Oh, you can afford this guy and this guy. You don't know. You have to see. You need things to play out a little bit more before we give like real opinions. So that's my long-winded answer.
Dolan,
your thoughts?
I mean, obviously, the prospects of adding Damian Lillard are very exciting. But at the end of the day, you have to make smart trade deals where I agree with you, Alex, where you can't be giving up everything for him because when you're playing the game, but we have nothing else on the team. It's Julius Randle. It's him. Then, yes, there's going to be that faction of players who be like, oh, I want to take less because I want to go play in New York. I want to play with these guys. But it's just, I don't know. I don't like the idea of it. And I think this is the problem right now is that because we overachieved this past year, it kind of speeds up. Now people think that now they like speed up the timeline. Like, what were the Knicks supposed to be going into the season? They're supposed to be just like a 30-win team. Let's just be respectable. Let's
play in tournament was expectation.
Let's establish a culture and identity and so forth. But now it's almost like now everyone wants to throw out that plan. Be like, oh my God, we made the 4 seed in the playoffs. Now we need to, we need to get everything. We want to accelerate the whole process. I personally, the core is still young. Julius is only 26 years old. RJ obviously is 21. You got Quickly, you got Toppin, you got Mitchell Robinson that people have forgotten about. Like, also very young.
Well,
and I would just build organically. I mean, you look right now. Look what Atlanta has done with their team. That's just. I mean, at the end of the day, because also, what is Damian Lillard? I agree with you. He's an amazing scorer. I mean, yes, he has those nice 55 points, something like that, insane. But what have the Blazers ever done where he's never been able to elevate them past anyone in the playoffs? So I don't know. That's
he's won series with game winners.
Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, he's a good player, but like I was saying, he's not. The second he steps on the floor, he's not like I tweeted out today. He's not Carmelo Anthony when the Knicks traded for Carmelo Anthony. He's not that. He's not on that level. Melo was a legit top 5 player in the NBA when the Knicks traded for him, and that's why it was easier to rationalize that trade, even though the pick swaps and the trades in the future really handicapped the organization and the amnesty with Billups and this and Tyson and they could have had Chris Paul. We know that every Knicks fan knows that story, but the Melo trade gave them no wiggle room to make mistakes, and they made one mistake, and it put a ceiling on the team, which is a 54-win second-round exit, and then nothing. Then you trade Bargnani. They trade one of the pick swaps from the Denver trade for Bargnani because they were desperate to put people around Melo. He was the number 1 pick. They're like, maybe we can get something here, and then that was the end of that. And then Phil comes in, and we know the story.
Because I think the problem is when you go all in like this and you trade away everything to get these guys, what the Lakers did in a sense, even with the Nets to some degree, even though the Nets were very fortunate that Durant and Kyrie came via free agency, so they still had the assets.
Fortunate.
But it's like it gives you zero wiggle room to so if there is one thing that goes wrong, then you have no depth, and then you're really screwed. So that's the one thing. Like, God forbid something, because then you're hiring basically these mercenaries. These guys want to take less, who are probably towards the end of their career. The Jeff Greens, the Blake Griffins of the world. I'm just throwing those names out there, Mike. I'm not trying to get a rise out of you, but like that's and then that's towards the end of their career where are they as effective, or are they going to be able to hold up, or whatever the case is? I mean,
like a Rasheed Wallace or Kenyon Martin when the Knicks
exactly. Look what the Knicks had to do that year. You had Brandon Kidd. Exactly. So you had it's rolling the dice. I mean, obviously, if everything works out perfectly and there's no injuries or no setbacks, then yes, like it's going to work out perfectly. So I don't know. I would not. Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead. I was going to say the guy you give up that kind of haul for is a guy like De'Aaron Fox. Like I've said many times on this podcast and on Twitter, De'Aaron Fox is the guy. If he says I want out, you go for him. You forget about Damian Lillard. You go for De'Aaron Fox. Get him out of there. Get him with a real coach in a good system and a good. It's crazy that I'm saying that about the Knicks, but like get him with a real coach with a real system with a team that knows how to win. And I'm guarantee you, and you got the Kentucky connection too. I guarantee you that'll be a godsend, and that's a guy you give up the picks for.
You're not telling me that Lillard that Lillard trade that you proposed earlier. You're saying you would do that not for Lillard, but you would for Fox.
I don't know about all the pick swaps in the future, but I would I would do that. I would probably, but not RJ Barrett. No, not RJ Barrett. I would switch RJ Barrett for Mitchell Robinson, but I would not give up RJ Barrett for De'Aaron Fox. No, I'm not doing that. But I would do it for Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson, Obi, Quickly. And the draft picks, pick your draft picks. I would be weary about the ones in like 2024 because like by then you don't know what your team is going to be then. You know what I'm saying? In 3 years you can kind of see what your team is going to be. But like other than that, I would do it. Yes, De'Aaron Fox. I'm in. He's so young. What is he? 23. I mean, and he's averaged 25 points a game in the West on the worst organization in the sport that hasn't been in the playoffs since Ron Artest. Yeah, Kevin Martin.
That would be a lot. That would be a lot to give up. That'd be a lot.
I'm not in agreement with you.
I think he's
say that again.
That's me. Yeah, what was that?
No, I'm saying I don't know if I'd be giving up all that.
That's a lot. That's a lot for an unproven guy that's been good on a bad team. I understand the age thing, but with Lillard, you're getting a proven all-time NBA type player. Top tier guy. I'm not saying a one. He needs to be paired with somebody, but just like every other team in the NBA, you need guys.
But it'll be 31 next year by the time the season starts. I know, but he'll be 31, and then you're giving up all these picks by 2024 or 23 when you're still giving up draft picks for him. Is he still going to be Damian Lillard? And are you going to win a championship with Damian Lillard and RJ Barrett and Julius Randle? Like, no,
it's a better version of the Russell Westbrook scenario we brought up. It's the same thing. You can't.
But without giving up, but with Russell Westbrook, you wouldn't have to give up anything.
Right, but I'm saying if you give up, I mean, the problem is you're not. Damian
That's why
Lillard
I was okay with the Westbrook thing because you weren't giving up anything.
On his own is not enough. Now you're telling me Kawhi opts out, and you're pairing Kawhi and Lillard, you got something, and that's how you do it. Yeah. But other than that, you're skipping steps to be a second round exit or whatever it might be. Yeah, you're not.
You already could have been that this year, right? If you played better in the playoffs.
And you know what? There's a guy who's around 28 years old,
right,
Alex.
I agree.
A guy who's 28 years old. You wouldn't have to give up that much for him. You wouldn't have to trade for him. Better yet, you wouldn't have to trade for him. Spencer Dinwiddie.
see how he's like agitated. He's the agitator.
I love Spencer. I mean, Spencer's one of my
20 points a game 2 seasons ago when he played, and 17 the year before.
And sat out the playoffs healthy. That's great. Great guy.
I don't think he sat out the playoffs healthy. I don't.
He totally did. He all of a sudden he announced right after the playoffs that he's healthy to go.
I'll tell you right now. I got some inside sources. People, a very credible source. He's not coming back to Brooklyn. So
there's no way he's coming back to Brooklyn. It doesn't make sense.
He wants his own team. He wants to start.
Well, also from the Nets,
who the hell is he? His own team. Give me a break.
He wants to start. Not his own team. Not his own team. He wants to start. Bottom line is he wants to start. He's earned it.
So go to Detroit. Yeah, have fun. Go there.
Well, that's where he started his career. I mean, but this is business. The Nets picked him up. They developed him. They turned him into a six-man of the year type candidate who's been in the mix for that. Spencer is clearly a guy that can score. He can defend. And the Nets could have used him in the playoffs. I'll tell you that. They could have had a second ball handler out there. Would have been huge for them.
Especially when Kyrie went down.
Oh, my God, with no Kyrie. And, a Harden at 20%. How good would Spencer Dinwiddie have been on the Nets? And I do want to bring this up, Dolan, because you're talking about like mercenaries and guys that fill in rosters. I don't think that's a Nets thing. I don't think that's an NBA thing. I think that's just a sports thing. You brought up the 2015 Mets earlier this year about how they had Yoenis Cespedes, but they also made deals to get Juan Uribe. They picked up bullpen help. And
Kelly Johnson.
What's his face? Tyler Clipper, whatever. That's just what
Clipper with the glasses.
That's what teams do when they're making title runs. They add veterans that are going to come in. So I think to use the mercenary term is just plain. It's just wrong. It's. I'll be honest.
Lazy.
I think it's just adding veteran pieces around big time players, and that's just something that goes ahead and happens in all sports. That's just what you do.
It's true.
Yeah, you're right.
I have nothing else to say to that. That's a good point. Mike just, ended the debate.
Did Trump just say you're right?
No, that was manipulated audio.
No, I mean honestly, what realistically that's going to happen. This organization so far, Leon Rose, he hasn't shown. I mean, Perry's been here, but Leon Rose has shown that he does not swing big. He does not swing big on free agents. Right. He's not swing big in trades. He's very cautious. He plays his cards. I don't know what's the term, but he's very cautious with his game, and that's why I don't see them doing that kind of wild Damian Lillard trade. Like I said, if he becomes available and he says I want the Knicks, I could see him doing something there. But I don't know. That's the thing. We don't know. You know what I mean? Like Leon Rose, he just came into this amazing situation where he's got all of these picks and all this cap space. And then Julius Randle takes a step. He hires the right coach that Julius Randle wanted. And look where he looks like a genius. You know what I mean? He barely did anything this offseason. He looks like a genius. So he did hire a coach, which is it's pretty hard to do considering the Knicks haven't been able to hire a good coach in, who knows when. You know what I mean? So since Woodson. So it's kind of, I was talking about this on Twitter today too. Like Phil Jackson kind of died for Leon for sins. Like, you know what I mean? He kind of fell on the sword, didn't train in draft picks, took the bullets. And then Leon Rose comes into the situation like, oh, I'm here to save you. And he didn't really do anything. What I'm saying?
The Quickly pick obviously early on looks good. The Toppin pick, I was joking around before, but
he'll be okay.
I agree. He got better. But I mean, for a first year, it was a disappointing first year for the 8th pick in the draft. I don't think there's an understatement. Like you, if I told you this is what Obi Toppin's first year was on draft night, you'd be like, this wasn't as good as I was hoping for. And then Quickly, of course, the opposite. I would say, he showed flashes. There was times where he got buried on the bench and minutes, etc. But you would say, okay, for the where he was
team all rookie,
very good. obviously he's part of our future and our foundation. If he's not, then you're talking about him in trades for bringing in superstars. So he's clearly got value, etc. So, but I'm just, getting back to your point, like Rose in the draft was okay. I mean, I would say his first draft was okay, top and so far, and quickly good, but it wasn't like a blew you out of the water first year draft. Obviously still a lot to tell. And then, but I mean, to give him credit, like, and I know you're saying, they weren't good enough against Atlanta, and I'm going to give the Knicks credit, but like Reggie Bullock had a good year. Alex Burke showed moments where he played well. The deal to get Derrick Rose for nothing.
Oh, Derrick Rose is incredible. That was
and
incredible.
Where would the Knicks be without Derrick Rose? So, I mean, stuff like that. The Nerlens Noel signing, he played pivotal minutes for the team and helped out when Mitch Robinson went down and clearly was a big asset. So I know we're a little bit minimizing because it wasn't like the Atlanta stuff, but at the same time, those were good signings that did help this team make it to the playoffs, combined with the facts that Tibbs did a great job in bringing the most out of them. But again, there's different paths to get to titles, right? There's what the Nets are trying to do and what they've manipulated their roster. But look at Atlanta, and you talked about, yes, they had this young talent, and they brought in Bogdanovic, they brought in Gallinari, but they've also drafted really well, and their young players have turned into something. Trae Young, you get annoyed with him, whatever. He's proven that he can play in the big spot, and he's having a good season. John Collins, up and down, but he's having moments. Then they brought in the trade to get Clint Capella. They drafted Hunter, who's hurt. Cam Reddish. I mean, they've done
Herder
pieces.
too. Yeah,
Herder. This is not just all they brought. Like, they drafted well, and they've developed decent talent, and then that coaching switch just sparked the whole thing where it changed. So it's a yin and yang where it's not just bring in guys. They also had a foundation where you're like, if RJ Barrett turns into a Trae Young level player, then you got something there. I mean, that's the kind of you need that part of it to happen too. It's more than just bringing the free agents, but you like to see how the ascending has happened for the Knicks, at least in the early stages so far.
Yeah, and to be fair to Leon Rose, he probably didn't know Julius Randle would be this good this year. Otherwise, he probably would have signed more players around, like, not the bottom of the barrel guys. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's something there too. I mean, I know he probably saw more in him than all of us did because everybody wanted him. I mean, I didn't want him traded, and I was just like, we have to trade him now that they drafted Obi Toppin. But like, what the hell do I know? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, where's Obi going to play if they're saying he's a power forward? But I was also saying we need a point guard to get Obi the ball because he's not going to be as good without a point guard. You know what I mean? So it's just like it was a weird roster, but it's his first season, even though the GM's been here, which is kind of strange. You know what I mean? So it's like, who gets credit for what? Like, Perry picked Mitchell Robinson in the second round after trading Melo, which was a great trade, and getting that pick. You know what I mean? And, he drafted quickly late in the first round. Like, those are two solid players. RJ Barrett was an easy one. Any one of us could have drafted RJ Barrett. You're the third pick, obviously taking RJ Barrett. But like, Mitchell Robinson and Emmanuel Quickley are two great picks. And who gets credit for that? I mean, like, that's like what's people pick and choose who they want to give credit for.
Who gets credit for the Quickley pick? Is it Walt Perrin, who is the one who is pounding on the table on drafting? Kenny Payne.
It wasn't Kenny
Payne, or was it Walt Perrin?
Yeah, because he was a Kentucky
Walt Perrin
guy.
came from the Jazz. I don't know.
Oh, Walt Perrin might have been, yeah.
Yeah,
well, that's like they said.
that.
Gaines pounded on the table for Phil to pick Porzingis, and then Phil wanted to trade Porzingis for Devin Booker, and we ran Phil out of town. So it's like, what the hell do we know? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
but Walt Perrin's got a good track record from what he did with Utah.
He does.
Utah,
they hire good quality executives.
Correct.
A good team.
Hey, I only hire
good administration. You have a good administration. Exactly.
But I'll tell you what. I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be aggressive. I think on draft night to move up. I mean, I don't know any of these guys.
They did make a lot of trades on draft night last year. They did.
Right.
Like going back and forward and this and that. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Right. They moved backwards to get more for, I think, was it next year? All those, like, whatever rules changing with the second round draft picks or something like that.
Right.
But I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be aggressive in the opposite direction. I think they're going to go try to move up in this draft this year. So we'll see.
Well, I have breaking news is we're not watching Hawks Bucks right now. If you're listening, when we're watching this, it's the fourth quarter with like 10 minutes left. The Hawks are up about 20 on the Bucks.
What?
What's that?
What? I said, what? How is that possible? No Trae Young, right? That's crazy.
Well, let me
I
just,
think he's out there. Oh,
yeah,
God,
Hawks
sorry.
87-68, 9:55 to go as we're doing this. But we're just Sean Sharania just tweeted Giannis Antetokounmpo is out for the rest of the Bucks Hawks game with a hyperextended left knee.
The Hawks are gonna be in the freaking finals, man. Are you kidding?
So I just
like, are you kidding me? Oh my God.
So Giannis,
Another-
I mean, we don't, I haven't watched this game. If you go on Twitter, you
Oh
could
my
probably see
God.
some of it. But Giannis left the game with a hyper extended left knee. This game's over in the fourth quarter. I'm not watching it, but just looking at the box, they're up 20. Giannis is
Sheesh.
gone. This thing's going to be 2-2 going back to Milwaukee. And who knows about Giannis? I mean,
Trey is hurt
if
too,
the
but
Hawks are in the finals, I mean, that would just be. I don't know. I'm
Fucking-
personally rooting for it between the Hawks.
Not
and
me.
If I had to root for right, but we're coming from the exact
Right. They're the
direction.
ragtag underdogs to you. Right.
No,
they're
to
like,
me,
yeah.
it's not even about the Hawks. I don't want to see the Bucks in the finals. They pissed me off.
Right.
You and I are on the same page here. We're the team that knocks off our team. We're not like, oh,
wanna
let's
see-
root for them because it just shows that we lost to the champion. Yeah, fuck that. Get out of my.
I
Get
don't
out of here.
understand.
You wouldn't
Feel my
root,
pain.
for Brooke Lopez to get a possible championship?
I don't care.
If he wins, you'll be like, all right, cool, but you're not going to be
I
like,
don't care. Just trust me. I don't. It's about the jersey and that.
Did you see the Brooke Lopez little video clip of him and Trey Young, like they were like tapping each other? No, Brooke
Oh,
Lopez
yeah,
is
he was
tapping
like-
him, and
Brooke Lopez was
yeah,
like-
he's like annoying him, like he's like a little brother of his, and then Trey
Yeah.
Young's like hitting him back. It was very funny.
No,
I'll find it and send it to you. It's really
Thank
funny.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I
Dole.
saw
Yeah,
that.
so we'll see what happens here. But man, if the Hawks are, I mean, there's a lot to go, and Middleton's played well and the whole deal. But damn, this whole
Dude,
playoffs is just like best players.
Can't imagine the Hawks in the finals.
That
That'd make Lloyd Pierce. He can never get a job again. If the Hawks get to the finals, he can't ever get.
And
a
then
coaching
you'd
job
have to
again.
have the conversation, Alex, which I think would be interesting because last year the Heat made the finals, and if the Hawks were to make the finals, there's something to that. I think
Right.
2 years in a row to have teams that weren't expected or had no chance that could do
Mhm.
that, and a lot of things.
The
happen.
NBA is more wide open than it's been in a
Yeah, I
long
mean,
time.
I think that would.
Yeah.
I think if you're a Knicks fan, that would make you feel really excited. Like if the Hawks made it to the finals, and I laid out before why Atlanta clearly has more talent. It's obvious, but from what I don't mean that in like a condescending way. Like obviously,
I know.
they're if they're going to get to the finals, that takes a lot of talent. But it just shows you the little tweaks here and there. You get into the playoffs, and you have some player. There's a
Couple
chance.
injuries. Embiid went down. Embiid went down.
happen.
I mean,
Things
that helped
happen.
them. I mean, he
Yeah,
played,
Moral
but he was
of the
doing
story
something, yeah.
is don't trade all the assets for Damian Lillard and continue to add nice
Right.
pieces. Kyle Lowry.
Because one guy
Spencer-
is not going
Right,
to.
and keep the depth and keep going in this direction.
And that's
I
why
just wanted to name drop Spencer Dinwiddie.
and that's
Mike, I
why
just sent
it
you
will-
the video clip if you want to
it
do
will-
a live reaction.
It will be a very interesting, and we haven't touched on this yet, but it will be an interesting offseason for the Nets because they have a lot of difficult and tough choices to make. The big three are obviously all set; they'll be there, but they've got key free agencies in Brown, Blake, Jeff Green. Joe wasn't very good in the playoffs; it was terrible. What happens there? Landry Shamet in the depth. Like, which direction do they go?
I'm hearing things, Mike. You're not going to like this. I'm hearing things. Your prize
Sources?
jewel. Yes, I do. I have very credible sources who I spoke to recently. Who
He
told
does,
me,
by the way. He's
yes,
not
I
joking.
do.
He does.
This is for
He
real,
told
guys.
us the person. Yeah.
Yes, and
Evan Roberts.
No, this
Yeah,
is
right.
much closer than Evan Roberts. And Evan does a great job, tremendous job. Nicholas Claxton may not be on the Brooklyn Nets next year because they may have to trade him to kind of fill in the other holes. So I know it's gonna be a very tough pill for Nets fans to swallow.
Dump
that you guys
DeAndre, right?
love.
Just to
Perhaps.
dump DeAndre.
I love Nick. I think he's a great young player, and I think a great strong. I think he's a very good, promising young player.
Exciting.
But-
Yeah.
But if it's about Dolan, it's about winning a title. I mean, the Nets have sold their soul at this point. I don't care.
It's over, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
I'm this close, and I felt that much pain with that loss. Do what you got to do, Sean Marks. I trust. I
Right.
trust him. I do. I really do trust him. I
Fire
trust-
Steve
I
Nash. Who
trust-
cares, right? It doesn't matter who the
I don't
coach
think-
is. It
I
doesn't.
think Steve Nash did a fine job. I really.
I know,
do.
but I'm just giving you.
I hear you. No, I gotcha. But
Do you think that's the reason why Jock Vaughn is not trying to get another job elsewhere? Because he maybe knows that deep down they're going to fire Nash.
Yourself out of the running.
Who they
Yeah.
demoted to bring in Steve Nash?
Maybe
So,
I don't
Right.
think so. I wouldn't put it back. I think there's also the idea that maybe he likes his life. I mean, I know maybe he enjoes being the assistant coach and getting paid a ton of money
Maybe
and living
he
in a
wants to
really
get a
cool
ring.
city.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he's just happy. I mean, is that a
It's possible.
scenario?
Maybe he's waiting for the right opportunity, and this
Well,
wasn't the
that
right
too.
opportunity for him.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Maybe he doesn't want to go coach a team that
He knows he gets
thinks
one more
is gonna win.
chance. He's not going to get another chance.
No,
after
this is it. No, and he's proved, he did a good job with the bubble nets and the defensive coach, which actually looked decent versus the Bucks. I think he doesn't want to rush to a bad situation just to be a coach, to be the coach. And he knows that he's in a good spot now where he has a chance to win a championship. So I think there's all those factors. Sure. Yeah. No, Jacques been a good part of the Nets organization the last couple of years.
And other random Knicks news that just came out: Larry Brown is going to be Penny Hardaway's assistant coach in Memphis. So Penny Hardaway turned down the Magic. That's why I wore this Penny shirt for him, my Penny Hardaway shirt. But he was one of my favorite players. But I was happy that he turned down the Magic because the Magic organization and the fans treated him like crap at the end of his career in Orlando before they dealt him. And even though he's playing through knee injuries and things like that. So he turned down the Magic, and then he hires Larry Brown as his assistant in Memphis, which is
bizarre.
Wild. It's like Larry Brown is just like, I can't believe he's still kicking. I don't know how old he's 110 years old, and he's still coaching. He was coaching Danny Manning in Kansas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like wrap your head around that. He led the Clippers to playoffs in like the early 90s with Danny Manning. He's a big Danny Manning guy, honestly. And then, it's crazy. He's been on so many different teams on that.
Why did Orlando, they had Steve Clifford, right? I mean, they were 30 games under 500. I don't understand why they fired him. Well, considering they lost, they didn't have Fultz this year.
They tanked. They went full in.
They traded away Vucevic. I mean, they didn't have
Aaron Gordon.
Jonathan Isaac. Right? They traded Aaron Gordon. So they totally tanked their team out. I don't understand why.
Maybe Clifford wanted out of there. Maybe
I think it was kind of one of those mutual deals where he's like, I'm not in the mood to be going through a full rebuild now. Like,
my record.
I'm not. I don't want to do that. I want to coach a team. You have to have the mindset if you want to be going into a situation like that, knowing that you're not going to win. And if he didn't want to do that, not thinking that the Magic were a team going into this year that had a legit chance to do anything, but when he first took the job,
playoff team,
young talent, I don't think he was in the mood to do a full rebuild with the Magic. But I mean, like from a pure NBA standpoint, I think it makes sense for Orlando. I think they made the right decision moving all those players because. Where were you going? You're just going to be stuck. At least they might be terrible, but at least now they have a plan, and you could say there is.
Yeah, and Adam Silver will give them the number one pick next year's lottery.
Right,
it'll happen.
But think about the Magic though, man. They're like really they've screwed up. They had a great young core. They had Tobias Harris. They had Oladipo. They had JJ. I think they had JJ Redick for a little bit, right?
Yeah, they did.
Oh no, they traded Redick for Tobias. Maybe I don't know. Whatever. So they had Tobias, Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, Oladipo. Like they, Elfrid Payton, they had him. They had guys like it's crazy what they turned into. It's insane.
It's just hard to get over the hump. It's just
when you trade everybody away too, it doesn't.
Yeah, so I think we don't have to do a full Orlando Magic.
Inside Magic.
I have to be honest, Alex. I'm kind of enjoying talking Orlando Magic basketball with you. This could be kind of fun. We could do a spin-off like the
Magic moment. We can call it that.
This magic moment.
That's what the 30 for 30 is called, the Penny and Shaq.
Okay, you're stealing.
So I stole it. Yeah. But it's a song.
Do you want it? I know we've got the poll question, and then do we want to do the Jersey game with Dolan here and see who can get them faster with the Nets? Can I go up against him? Is that something that we could do?
Yeah, but you guys,
I'm a little intimidated.
You guys should. I think what we should do though is somehow like do a buzzer thing and not just yell out, like say it and then both say it at the same time to see if you both can get it, or you want to do it like who gets it first.
You guys have to find a way. There's a way to do Zoom where there's when you click on reactions, like right now you can see I'm doing the thumbs up emoji.
Oh, so like that's.
But there's a way Well, I guess you can do that then. But there's a way we can do it where you it does like a hand raise feature.
Oh yeah. Got it.
So you can see who technically.
Well, we have some things this summer we're gonna do. We're gonna do some trivia games and some things with fans and stuff. So that's a good idea. We'll keep that in the back pocket. But so you want to do the poll question real quick? So I tried to do something different because everybody's talking about Dame Lillard and the trades in the offseason. We need to like switch the topic a little bit. So I said, Knicks fans, who are you rooting for in the NBA playoffs and why? Clippers, Suns, Bucks, or Hawks? Who do you think won? What do you guys think?
The Suns.
Clippers for Marcus Morris.
Suns because it just seems like the least offensive of the bunch.
Suns, 56.3% Suns, 25.9% Bucks, 10.7% Clippers, and 7.1% Hawks. I was going to put anybody but Hawks as that last one, but I like to keep these poll questions non-joking. I like serious poll questions.
Who's your pick?
The Bucks. Definitely. I think the Suns are the fun team. I think that's the team that people want, and people want to see Chris Paul get a ring.
I'm with the Suns.
Yeah, because that's like the team. Like they came up, they did it right, and then they added Chris Paul, and then here we go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's you know.
And don't
It's
forget,
like-
I mean, they probably have the coach of the year on their bench too, which makes sense. So I'm cool with the Suns.
I'm pulling for the Bucks. The bunch of guys in the front office, they were early supporters of mine. They got behind my campaign early on, and so I'm going to see them. Plus Brooke Lopez, great net, who did wrong. They did him wrong.
Your era.
Clippers winning a title would really be upsetting to me because like I'm 36 years old and I've never seen my team win a championship. I mean, I was 2 years old when the Mets won in '86. So like the Clippers are the worst organization in the history of sports.
Right.
That would be you know what I mean? Like they really are. And if I saw the Red Sox win, I saw the Cubs win, I saw the White Sox win, I saw the Buccaneers win, I saw all these the Seahawks, like all these terrible teams win. And now, and the Patriots too, we forget about that. The Colts also, they were garbage for so long. And if the Clippers, man, like, goddamn, like, can one just stay like below me? Like,
Clippers would annoy me because they're like the Nets of the West, you know, being the second fiddle to the Knicks.
Yeah.
So I think
Kenny Atkinson would get his title.
I would like. That wouldn't annoy me. See, that wouldn't annoy me. I love Kenny. I think he did a tremendous job with the Nets and actually help them turn around the team to where they are and to get them to this point. So I wouldn't be upset with that. But seeing like the Nets of the West win before the Nets, I think would annoy me to see a second fiddle team win. So that's why I'll pick them over any team in the East, but I'm definitely with the Suns.
Makes sense. Okay, so you want some shout outs?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we have Marco Polo. He's at Marco Sabine, Sabene. Suns, because their team is fun, exciting, and I want CP3 to get his ring. Also would win some decent money if they do, because I bet some futures on them. That's a good bet. That's a futures bet on the Suns. You're sitting pretty right now. Let's see. M Petty, he's at MPEDD. Oh, that's LE. Longtime Suns fan. This is the best shot we've had since the mid-2000s. I wouldn't be sad about any of the other three teams winning either, even though I'm partial to the Suns. Okay, we have Ian Almonte. He's at Ian, whatever. At Ian Almonte, EEAN. Would love to see Chris Paul win a championship. He's always had a bad break in luck throughout his career. That's true. He did. Let's see. Okay, so we have Durant's burner account at BricksKid77. That's Bricks with an X. Giannis is a likable guy, good team around him. Let's see who else we have. Everything CP3. Lefree NYR at 22SMK22. He just puts a Greek flag up, so I guess he's big into Giannis. Let's see. Let me get something else besides Giannis and Le'Veon Bellsprout. He's at Eddie Bells. He goes Suns in 4. So that's because of the Suns in 4 guy. That's like my favorite guy of the off season, of the playoffs. I mean, the postseason. There's so many. Everything is pretty generic here. Nobody's really giving a real opinion here because it's not really that kind of question. So I think that's gonna bore us if we read more. But the Suns in 4 guy, how about that? I mean, that guy became famous. He got a T-shirt deal with Barstool, and he's getting splitting the profits of Barstool with his T-shirts, making some money off and knocking some kid in the face. You know what I mean? And did you see Richard Jefferson, our boy? He said it's not a good example to set. And people were like, "What are you talking about, dude? Who cares?" Like, you know, it's just he didn't kill anybody. But anyway, what do you guys think?
I think I want to take down Dolan in a little.
Right now, we're ready. Ready for jersey number trivia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, it's not about speed; it's about accuracy.
Oh.
And you guys changed the game up now. It's not even you're doing this player draft. You're doing like this player drafted in 1993. So I would say draft years are my not my strength.
Ooh, Mike's draft years is Mike's strength. That's
I know. I listen to the show.
Yeah, no, it's like I said every episode. We used to do per jersey number. We do it per episode. So we were on episode 21. We guess all the jersey numbers are 21 or just a 1 or 2. But since we're in what is this episode number 70? We have no 70s. So let's go to a random. So today is the 29th of the month. So when this will come out is the 30th. So let's do a 30.
Terry Kittles.
So no, not the obvious one, and not Bernard King either. I'm not
Reggie Evans.
Yeah, we did him, I think.
Okay. So Nets from 2015 to 2016. Number 30.
15 to 16.
He played He played in 28 games in 2014-15. It looks like it was a midseason trade with Minnesota. And then he started all 73 games in 2015 and 2016.
From Minnesota. Was it? It wasn't no, it's not Thaddeus. I didn't say that. Dolan's looking it up.
No, it would be Thaddeus Young.
It was that is.
Yeah, you're right.
Mike, you shame yourself too much. You do that all the time. You're like, it's not this guy, and then it's the guess. Just guess them.
I guessed them. Well, that's one for me. I'll give it to me.
Yeah,
It's my podcast with Alex. We can do it.
That was right around the time when I decided to leave the Nets party. It was right after that Atlanta series when the Nets lost in 6.
I just beat
Lionel Hollins era.
I just beat the great Dolan at Nets trivia. I'm feeling good about myself.
Oh, here's a good one. So half of 30 is 15. So from 2016 to 2017 to 2017 2018.
Donald Sloan.
Nope. He started 26 games
in
16. Yes. There you go.
Wait, did Donald Sloan wear number 15 though?
Oh, I don't know.
You remember Donald Sloan?
Donald Sloan.
Scrub point guard. Alex, you would love him.
Yeah, he did. 2016. So the year before. I would love him.
You would love
kind of like Spencer Dinwiddie, right?
Dolan. I kept the home court. The series hasn't started, but I kept the
That's it though. Best of 3. You won the series. That's it.
Wow. There you go.
Boy, you're overrated like your ownership. My God.
You guys got to give me a Knicks one now.
Yeah, I got one for you. All right. Number 17 for the Number 17 for the Knicks in 2012.
Jeremy Lin.
Yes, you got it right. Yeah. All right. Number 4.
So I feel like there's more pressure on Alex not to lose to me because obviously I joined the party late.
That's very fair.
You got to go older than like the obvious one.
Yes, you're right. Fair enough. Okay, give me a second. Okay. All right. Number 25 from 1980 to 1988.
25. 80 to 88. That's a long time.
I'm surprised he was with the Knicks this long. This surprises me.
80 to 88. What the hell?
Wow. I can't believe he was with the Knicks this long.
80s are kind of my sketchy
At one time, he was an assistant coach for the Nets.
Maurice Cheeks. No. Why did I say that?
Remember, it's about accuracy.
80 to 88.
You want another clue that could give it away?
Yes. Not the giveaway one. No, not that. Give me something else, though. What position? Guard? Center. Bill Cartwright.
Yes.
Nice.
Dolan's
I actually was in Bill Cartwright. Yeah. I should have known that. Bill Cartwright's son was in my kindergarten class.
I knew that too.
Was he really on the Knicks till 80? Yeah,
John
he was
Cartwright.
Fun fact: Cartwright got hurt the year that the Knicks were terrible. That when they got Ewing and won the lottery, because he was a Knicks star. Him and Vern King, and they both got hurt, and then that's why the Knicks got Ewing.
And you guys read Paulie Nepper's book about right, the Knicks of the '90s, right?
That's right. We had him on the podcast.
Cartwright and close family friend. His wife's a good family friend of ours. So. What do you call it? But how Cartwright and Ewing were both they've had Ewing starting alongside him, and then they realized they needed to trade Cartwright for Oakley.
Yeah, and that was a great trade. Yeah. That was one of the best trades. And even though the Bulls won all the championships, they didn't win it because of Bill Cartwright.
All right, I've got one here that I think you both could possibly get.
Okay.
So this is number 42 from 2004 to 2005. He was on the Knicks. Definitely not his prime years.
Vin Baker.
Yes.
Oh, that was good. See, 42 threw me off because I'm thinking David Lee was stuck in my head for a second. And then I was like, wait, he was on the team way longer than that. And damn.
Wait, Mike, when was Cartwright the assistant on the Nets? Under what era?
I didn't know that either.
No, I couldn't tell you.
Who's that coach?
He was definitely on that. He was definitely at some point on that bench. I remember it. I remember those stupid yes.
In New Jersey?
Yes.
He does have a very distinct face, Bill Cartwright. So 4 to 08.
Was he on Avery Johnson's staff or no?
I don't remember.
04 to 08, he was on the team. He was coaching.
04 to 08, so it was earlier.
Yeah.
So he was on Lawrence Frank's staff.
Like I said, I couldn't remember that.
Yeah, Lawrence Frank took over after Byron Scott. Byron Scott got fired in 2003?
Bill Cartwright kept coming up in NBA 2K. You can hire assistants and stuff like that, and he was always around. Like one of those guys.
That's so
back in the day. Yeah.
All right, Dolan.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, Dolan, I know you got a lot of awesome merch and a lot of great opportunities for people if they want to get involved in your movement. We'll call it that. Where can people find?
If you're really looking to support the campaign, and then you can go to dolanjtrump.com. There's tremendous gear on there. We have amazing shirts, American-made, American apparel shirts. So we're bringing back jobs back to the United States. Also masks as well. So we got that on the site. We're going to be launching some other new T-shirt designs. So check it out. A lot of people are wearing them. A lot of people are happy with them. And my source, I just he recently just got a mask. So, which may cause a little conflict of interest. So we'll see.
What do you mean?
I advised him not to wear it in certain places. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Woo, interesting nugget. You may have slipped there a little bit, Dolan.
There you go.
Don't. There you go. He's like,
all right. Well,
the conversation right now.
Yeah, this is getting awkward, and we'll end it there. Well, Dolan, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sparking the flame that got Alex and I heated.
And the beef's over, guys. So we signed our peace treaty. Mike and I are good. I think the real problem now is between me and Alex and Spencer Dinwiddie. So
I'm not going back.
And the Mets won. The Mets won, though. By the way, that's what's good. So
very nice. Nice. What was the final?
4-3. So
4-3 Mets. This has been episode 70. Dolan at Nick Central, at Mike Delivers Pod, at Dolan. What is it? _J_Trump. Follow him on Twitter. It's very funny. It's very entertaining. Dolan, we know we love you. I love you. You're a good friend. I appreciate when we appreciate when you come on this podcast and spew your Nets hate and all of that stuff. But it's a lot of fun. So thank you, brother, for doing that.
Of course, absolutely.
Alex,
thank you.
Sorry we got so heated. I apologize earlier again for just talking about the Knicks shit, but I'm in the stage now of anger in the Nets loss. So
yeah, and I apologize to you, and I apologize to Spencer Dinwiddie. He's not really an asshole. I don't want guys like that on my team.
Well, we have a surprise to end this podcast. Spencer Dinwiddie's coming on.
Hey, Spence.
See you.
All right.